Hello, hello. Good morning, everyone. Hold on, I'm getting little pop ups here. Let me close out a screen or two. All right, there we go. Sorry about that. All right, good morning. How's everybody feeling today? What is going on? Happy Wednesday to you. We are like nearing the end of January. The time waits for no one. It is just literally flying by. But if you are joining live, definitely pop in the comments, pop in the chat, and say hello. And you know what? Apologies in advance. If you ever comment or post something in the comments or the chat and I do not reply to you or acknowledge you, it's simply because it's not showing up. Like I'm being rude. I'm not singling you out. But it's literally that it's just not showing up in the comments for whatever reason, and I can't see it. So apologies. I know that's happened to a couple of folks who I know near and dear, and I've been like, "What? You popping up in the comments? I can't even see it until after the fact." So I don't know what that is. Give it up to technology. Hey, Nikki, what's up, girl? So we are so excited to dive into the conversation today. We're talking all about dressing for your next job and how your style and identity are linked, how there's some connective tissue between the two. All right. So as we're having this conversation, definitely pop up in the comments, share some thoughts, share your stories, because there might be a couple of things that resonate with you as we're moving through. So I wanted to ask y'all, have you ever had a case of mistaken identity at work? Right? And Nana, what you talking about mistaken identity? Mistaken identity where you moving along in your office doing your thing and an older man says, "Well, could you go get the coffee?" Or in the meeting, people think that you are the designated person to take the notes. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Mistaken identity, right? People have mistaken you for being an assistant. Nothing wrong with being an assistant if that is indeed your job, right? But if you're a manager and someone is mistaking you for being an assistant, it can sting a little bit to the it can sting a little bit to the ego. We just won't keep it 100. All right. Um, or if because you are, and in most of these cases, let's also keep it 100, it's often a man who's mistaking you as a woman for being in a role that you potentially are not in. And oftentimes that role is one that is at a level that you previously were in a job, right? Or maybe never were. Maybe you were never an assistant, right? And now you are an associate, or you are a junior analyst, or you are a manager, okay? Or maybe you are an assistant manager, okay? Right? But oftentimes, because you are a woman, and maybe you are the only woman in the space, the youngest in the space, the Black woman in the space, a woman of color, you're one of the only women in this group, in your team, in your department, etc. So oftentimes people think that you are supposed to be doing certain things, right? You're the one who takes the notes, right? Again, all of a sudden you're in charge of beverages and food and things, right? That's hospitality. You go down and get the folks and greet them and bring them up to the conference room. All kinds of things. So if you've ever had a case of mistaken identity and you're open to share, please drop your testimony in the chat, okay? But this happens. This really does happen, and I've heard often from clients that I've worked with that are really come to me because they know they want to get a promotion, and they're currently at a level that's typically manager and below. and they share experiences where they feel like they are slighted, have been slighted or overlooked. Okay. Good morning, Shantae. How you doing? They've been in those kinds of experiences where they felt slighted, where they felt overlooked. And they realize that there's something off. Like they do not care for the way they are treated. They do not care for the way that they may be overlooked for positions. Like you realize something got to change up in here. Okay. And you also realize that something's changing in you yourself in terms of how you are looking at your career. Right? Oftentimes you're getting a little bit more strategic about what's the next opportunity that I want to pursue. You're thinking more about, you have a better understanding of the value you bring, and you are getting like deeply seated in that knowledge, right? Like if someone you have no problem sharing your ideas, you have no problem vocalizing what your thoughts are, right? You're getting a lot stronger and a lot more confident in what you offer. And I think when that kind of identity shift is happening for you in your career, where you're realizing, you know what, I am definitely looking at things and I've learned a lot from when I first started at this job or in this career path to now. Because more than likely you've got some notches on your belt, right? You 5, 10, 15 years in the game. Okay. So a lot of different things are happening for you that are shifting the way that you see yourself. And of course, then how others are going to see you. All right. Like that's happening. And oftentimes when we're thinking about what that next job move is going to be, right, you continually want to make a move in your career where you're going to grow. It might be a lateral move. It might be a move out of the company. It might be a move into a new industry. It might be a move within the company to a more senior level role. Whatever the next job is that you are like, okay, 2024, this is the one that I want to move out of the current position I'm in. And I want to take on a role that has more of a leadership and more impact. You got to show up for that role now. Okay. And the reason why is really quite honestly and true. We give it all the way 100. We give it a buck. We keeping it 100 today. All right. The real reason why is because there's more that's happening around your image as a whole and your identity as a whole that is changing, that is shifting. Because you realize that what you did to get you to this point was cool, but you got to do a different thing to get you to the next point. Did you hear what I said? Okay. Like what you have done up until this point, that worked to get you to this position. But to get to the next role that you desire, you've got to do something else that's different. Like new levels. Every time you got, it's all the level up. The level up is real. The level up is real, and it looks different at different phases in your career, in your life. But the level up is real, and you do feel it. You do feel when you are, assigned different projects and you're like, like, yeah, I'm ready to lead this. I'm ready to lead this project. Like, I can do it. I'm ready to manage a team. I got the chops. Like, I've been putting in the work. You done got your certifications. You've been doing your mentorship. Like, you've been doing your meditations. You've been saying your affirmations. You know what I'm saying? Like, you are looking at your life holistically, personally, professionally, and you're making very intentional investments to grow. So when you're doing all these types of things, it is natural. It is natural that you are experiencing an identity shift. And when this is happening, you want to take a look at all of the areas around your image and understand where you need to start making some movements. Okay. What's up, Portia? And so one of the things that I learned about image, and I've shared this with y'all, before, you've heard this from me before, but something we call the ABCs of image. That's your appearance, your behavior, and your communications. Okay. And we also talk about the D, digital presence, which is also very important too. In this conversation, I'm gonna focus on the ABCs. And the reason why I'm going to focus on the ABCs is because when you are thinking about your next job, okay, and that next role, quite honestly, you have to think more. You have to think beyond just how you're dressing. I know the style coach, the stylist is telling you this, but it's the truth. Okay. You have to think beyond, you have to think more than that, right? And you know that, right? And that's where your image comes into play, right? So appearance is one element of that. You also want to give thought to your behaviors and your communications, right? Oftentimes, people will give the most effort to behavior and communications. And they are thinking about their public speaking skills. They're thinking about the ability to communicate and articulate themselves clearly, right? They are thinking about their written skills, how you can write in a very clear and succinct way. All the things that feel like tactical skills that you can practice, that you can take a course on LinkedIn about, right? That are all real and true and you should do. Right? Things that you can hire folks who are experts in that field. You can grab someone from Toastmasters. You can hire a public speaking coach. Okay. I did. All right. You can do all of these things that are going to help you in the way that you communicate and articulate your ideas, and communicate with people, right? Because that's gold. You must have that, right? Your next job is going to require that. You want to be a manager, you want to be a senior leader, a director, you want to be in the C-suite. If you do not have the ability to communicate effectively, it won't happen. We're keeping it on it today. We're keeping it on it. All right. So really, and now that I think about it, really, this live is really about how you need to think about your image as a whole for your next job, not just dressing. Okay. Although we going to dive deeper into dressing because this is what I do. But as an image consultant, I have definitely found spaces in sharing with clients and in workshops with people when they ask me questions about, well, how did you, get confident in your ability to present, Definitely there are spaces where things can be a natural talent and a gift. I do pride myself on having the gift to communicate well. All right. But just because that something is a gift doesn't mean that I'm just like, I got that. Right. Nah. Like as you desire new roles and new levels, you must continuously invest. You must intentionally invest. Yes. Thank you, Portia, for the distinction, right? When you're communicating, it's not about being loud. It's about being clear and effective. Because oftentimes the loudest voice in the room is not the right one, okay? But you want to make those investments. So this is definitely an invitation for you to take stock of your appearance, your behavior, your communications. And if you are looking to get a promotion or looking at your next role, you want to assess where you feel you're doing well in those spaces and where you need some improvements, right? So if in meetings, you, especially when you are speaking, and this is not about like being quiet. Like sometimes you might be a quiet person, you might be introverted, like that just might be who you are. To Portia's point, you don't have to be loud to be effective, or to be taken seriously, or to be positioned as someone who could handle the next role. That's not it. But when called upon and when it is time for you to speak, you want to make sure that people are listening. And you want to make sure you have something worth hearing, right? So when you have those moments and opportunities, how are you able to share your ideas in a really cogent way, right? Okay, Shantae, hear me, all right? So you want to assess your communication skills and give yourself a rating. I like to keep it super simple, right? Red, yellow, green. Okay. Red, danger zone. You're like, I am not doing well in this. And oftentimes, internally, you can assess yourself in a very honest and clear way. And then you always have evaluations from your management teams, et cetera, to give you some insight there and see what your peers or your managers are saying in those particular spaces, right? So red, danger zone, you need help, you need to make a serious investment to level up in that space. Yellow, you're doing all right, but you still need some work, right? So you might be in the process. Like you've already committed to something. You've already committed to Toastmasters. You've already bought a course about style. You've already, maybe you are doing some things with some folks to practice your behaviors when it comes to when you are presenting, and the fact that you might use all the time, whatever the things are, right? You're working on it, but it's just not where you need it to be. That might be yellow for you. And then green, you got that. You found like flying colors. It's part of the calling card. It's part of what people identify as who you are. Like you're really strong in this space. Okay. So give yourself a green, yellow, red rating. This is something that I do in a lot of different workshops, and it's really just called an image assessment. Okay. And you're going to give yourself a red, yellow, or green rating when you're looking at your appearance, your behavior, your communications, your digital presence as well. Let's add the D because that's an important one. Okay. So chat a little bit about communications. I'm going to go to the B around behavior. All right. Your behaviors. So what are you actually doing with your body? What are your nonverbal gestures and cues? All right. Sometimes you might, simple things. You might pick at your nails, you might bite your nails. Sometimes you might fiddle with your hair when you're speaking or when you're nervous. There are a lot of interesting gestures. And if you watch people when they're speaking and they're in their power and they're speaking strong, and then also when they're speaking, you're like, I think they're kind of nervous, right? Like, watch what's happening. Do you speak with your hands? I'm a hand talker. That is who I am. So sometimes I have to dial that back because I'm like, let me not distract people with these behaviors and all of my hand gestures, right? There's so many different layers to you stepping into the identity of the person with the role you desire, right? And Shantae says, I fold my arms to avoid fidgeting with my hands. Okay. I can see that. I can see that tip. I like that. And and even in that, you want to listen. Body language is a whole element, right? Because sometimes, depending on how you're folding your arms or how you're crossing your arms, sometimes when you're crossing your arms, people might think that you're not open to receiving information, right? Or you're already defensive or questioning what someone is saying when you're not intentionally. You're just like, I just don't want to fidget with my hands, right? So many different layers to body language. But it's a space you want to give some thought to. All right. And I think especially in the behavior, in the body language space, observe others. Observe others who are leaders, who when they speak, you see that people like lean in and listen to what they say. Observe people who you think are great orators, that you really respect, just even within your own team, within your own company, right? And then of course, outside in the world, right? Like there are people at every turn who do this exceptionally well. and you can look at them and take some cues in terms of how they are positioning, behaving, whether that's at a networking event, whether that's at a company dinner, a conference, a team gathering. I think these are great spaces where listening and observing can be one of your greatest assets to positioning yourself well and helping you make an identity shift to position yourself for the next role. As you're just taking some notes. All right. So that's often in the behavior space. I'm going to hop to the D. Sorry, we're not doing this in order, but I want to save the appearance just for a bit because I really want to hone in on that. The D, digital presence, right? Your LinkedIn profile is so important for you to position yourself for your next job. All right. If you need help with your LinkedIn profile, Portia Obeng is your girl. DM her, she'll get it all the right together. Okay. But if you have been neglecting your social media profile on LinkedIn, like, listen, people, when your resume comes across the desk, people gonna Google you. All right. First stop is gonna be LinkedIn. They're gonna come through and they're gonna go through your profile. Right? They're going to see, okay, what's her experience? Is she active here? Does she even have any information here? Right? Like, they are going to be looking at what information you're sharing about yourself. And LinkedIn is the professional networking, job searching, resume boosting tool. Okay. Do not take it for granted. Okay. Testimony. Yes. Portia is the true Shantae. Right. So don't take that for granted. Like that is just one other element of your professional identity, of your professional image, right? It's a visual indicator about your experience, and it gives people some insight into who you are, your profile picture. If you have recommendations from others who you've worked with, if you've given any great recommendations to your peers, how your information is listed on the other roles and experience that you've had, your certifications, all the things, and if you are active and you post about things, what are you sharing? What kind of value and what kind of thought leadership are you putting out there, right? These are all the things, right, that are critical when you're thinking about that next job, that next role. Okay. Yeah, come on. I love it. Shantae said that profile facelift was key to get her next role. Thank you, Portia. We like to see it, right? And that's right, Portia, right? People want that LinkedIn profile that says she knows what she's talking about. Absolutely, right? And that's really what you're doing when you're thinking about your image and your identity. You're building the trust. You're building credibility. That's it. That's the name of the game. You're building trust and you're building credibility so that anybody, whether they see you and they meet you in person, whether they hear you on a podcast, whether they see you at a conference, they immediately start to think, is this someone I want to talk to? Is this someone who looks like she knows what she's talking about? Sounds like she knows what she's talking about. Okay, we need to bring her in for the interview. Okay, we think that she's ready for the next role. And really, it's like people want to see you're capable. Like you already know you are capable and you're ready, right? But when you start to show people that you're capable before they even see you in the role, that's when they're like, oh, well, she's already demonstrated it in all of the ways. Like, and we've witnessed the level up, right? They see the difference. They see that you're not afraid to be visible. They see that you're not afraid to be the one to lead the project, to lead the proposal, right? Like they see you taking initiative and saying like, I'm here. Like I'm fully confident and being seen and being heard because I know my image is on point. Ba-doop-boop, right? Like that's what you desire. So it's critical for you to be demonstrating that for yourself now. Okay? Not waiting. If you're like, I'm thinking about a promotion over the next 3 years, you know, you don't wait to then say, okay, well, maybe in a year I'll start thinking about, whether or not I need to improve my communication skills or if I should, join a Toastmasters, right? You start that process now because it's going to take time. Okay. It's going to take some time for you to really get to a place where you're confident in it and then start to feel like you're demonstrating it and being consistent in it. Okay. Being consistent in it so that people see you, hear you, and are constantly like, yeah, she is a junior analyst now, but we totally see her in the management level. Like she's already demonstrating to us that she's ready for that role. We see it. Okay. She's already managing some teams. She's communicating it very well. Like every time she shows up, in the corporate space, people will say she looks professional, she looks polished, right? They will say all these things. Whether you like the words or not, what I go for is how I desire you to feel about me. That's what I focus on when it comes to the appearance space and the style space. I'm so focused on this is what I want you to think about me, because I know if you think this about me and if you see this about me, I'm a shoe-in for the next role. I will be chosen because there's no other choice. Right? But it's so much more about how you see yourself. And then saying like, that's I'm in control. I'm in control of my style. I'm in control of my image. However I set it up for myself about my presence, that's what others are going to be receiving. That's it. So the professionalism, that is an entire identity. It's not just simply about dressing professionally, because there are a million people who walk around here in gray suits and they ne'er one of them professional. Okay. Ne'er one of them are respectful of their peers. Ne'er one of them are able to lead teams well. Ne'er one of them can communicate well. Like, y'all seen it. Okay. Right. We just listen, we getting strategic today. All right. So it really is about you thinking about these 4 areas, the ABCDs of image, to really position yourself well for that next job. So when it comes to the dress department and your style and what you're wearing, this is huge because this is the visual impact. This is how people see you visually showing up every single day. And so you want to make sure that first and foremost, that you're clear on the message you're delivering through your style. And the way that you're going to get clear is by really defining and understanding what your personal style is. You need to be able to define what it is, because then if you define it and you know what it's supposed to look like, you know how you want to show up in it every single day. And that's what people will see. Okay. So if you want to define your style as classic, sophisticated, and feminine, like, boom, let's do it. And let's show up in that every single time. If you want to be, a traditional, polished professional, what does that look like for you? It's up to you to decide. It really is. Okay. But the bottom line is that when a manager, anyone is thinking about and considering you for the promotion, like I said, people want to see that you're ready before you're actually ready. It's an interesting thing, right? People see that you're ready for something and they're like, yeah, like you simply need like one advocate to start to say like, yeah, she ready. Like I've had numerous encounters with her. She's ready. Yeah, like I've seen her around the office and she's just like constantly on it. I just always see her and she looks well put together all the time, and people constantly are talking about her, right? Because oftentimes it's the things that people say when you're not in the room that decide whether you get the job or not. Let's say it again. When you are not in the room, what people are saying about you when you are not in the room is what decides how you get the job and if you get the next job. Okay? Yes, love it, Shantae. Come on. Thank you for the shout out. Appreciate you. I definitely loved seeing the level up for you. The glasses, the cut. Come on, girl. But it's all of these elements, especially just in the dress department. Like this concept about dressing for your next job, this is not a new one. Like Forbes has written articles. There's articles on LinkedIn. There's been studies about it. Like this is not a new phenomenon, like this is about like why is that important? If you're like, why do I have to do that? Like you are building trust and credibility. And people find people who are consistent and confident to be trustworthy and credible. Consistency and confidence. Okay. And even, let's take it even deeper than the confidence, conviction. Conviction is more unwavering than the confidence. Okay. Like you've got confidence. Then when you got the conviction, like there's a whole other level of a grounded sense of who you are, the value you bring, how you do it. You do not have to impress anyone. You are not here because your ego sent you. Okay? You are there because you are qualified and you know it. And you can get the job done and you believe in yourself. All right? Simply. Yes, I love that, Portia. Like that, absolutely the same for business owners, right? Getting so many referrals from people who mention your rooms and names you've never been in, right? And that's because of how you consistently show up. Consistently showing up. And this is, and this is definitely too, this is one for business owners. I mean, this is one for everyone, but sometimes I often see this with business owners as well, is there's a lack of consistency. Meaning you are going to set up the photo shoot because you need pictures for your website. And you'll hire the stylist, you'll hire the hairstylist, you'll hire this personal stylist to dress you, get a couple of outfits, you'll hire the makeup artist, right? You got the photographer, and you're like, boom, 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 let me take the pictures, right? And then the pictures are popping on the website. But how you're showing up every day with your clients on calls, is not as fly, okay? Is not as fly, right? It is not as strong because you're like, well, I'm gonna get the pictures because that's what's most important because that's my brand. It's on my website. Your brand is with you every day because you are your brand. So how you showing up every day? Boo, did you feel it? Oh, did it catch you? Good. All right. Like you have to put more effort into being consistent with your style. That this is not a one time. We ain't to be. This is not a one hit wonder situation. You might be a one hit wonder with your style, like because you get the glam squad together and it's like boom every time, right? Like, listen, newsflash. Most folks who are able to get the glam squad together to help you like have that fabulous day with your style, of course you're going to be on point. But are you able to keep your style on point when it is just you in your closet getting dressed every day? How you looking at? push my glasses. How you looking at? It's just you in your closet and you got a client meeting. Can you put the fit together? That's going to be on brand. That's going to help you feel confident. Are you able to do your hair? Are you able to do your makeup? Let me sip of water while you think about it. Be consistent. You have to be consistent in that. Okay. And just like you're putting investment to join Toastmasters, work on your resume writing, hire Portia to transform your LinkedIn. Like, what you going to do in the style department? How are you going to clearly understand what your personal style is, and how are you going to show up every day in that, so that people begin to understand what your personal brand is? And that is extremely easy to articulate through your style. If you have help or you have clear direction on it, it can be very easy to do. Okay. But that way that your habit has to be consistent in it. Please don't be part of just throwing this something on and just rolling out of bed because I work from home and we still doing t-shirts or that favorite sweatshirt to hop on that Zoom call and I'm just going to be in this all day. And also, please don't fall into the trap of let me just simply dress like everybody else in the office. Don't do it to yourself. Okay? Don't do it to yourself. Your career path is not like everybody else. So do not dress like everybody else. You are not like everybody else. So don't dress like everybody else. Don't just fall into the trap of just like, the office is pretty casual now after COVID. And, everybody just shows up in sweatpants, or just everybody's like in t-shirts and like yoga pants, Is that what you want? Who cares about what everybody else wants? What do you want? You want a promotion. Okay? You want to get a raise. You want to switch industries. You want to switch companies. Whatever it is you want to do, understand how you need to show up like that individual now. What are you doing with your image to make those shifts today? That's what we're talking about. All right. So when you're thinking about your clothing and you're thinking about your style, get super clear on what your personal style is and start to look into your closet and understand what you could be putting together in terms of outfits to represent that. Creating a mood board is one of the easiest ways to visually get clear on what that is. So you can literally, and be inspired by the mood board. Like put this is my C-suite style. This is my millionaire business owner style. Like put the name on the mood board and put the pictures up of the style that you want. Come on. Okay, you can't just show up like whatever. That's right. And listen, y'all can be in your t-shirts. As for me in my house, I'm coming with the heat every day. Listen, come on, Portia. All right. Like be unique. Be unique. Let people see your uniqueness. Like let people see more of you, more of what's authentic to you, more of what's real to you. Like let that come through. And it could be such subtle things. It could be your signature frames, a signature lip, your signature earrings, like signature nails. Like you always wear a graphic, even if you are doing tees, maybe you always wear a graphic tee that has like a dope messages all the time. Like you got to experiment. If you're like, oftentimes people are not clear on what their personal style is, so they don't know how to show up with it. So if that's you and you're not clear, start to create that mood board and then start experimenting with what you have in your closet to see what feels good and what works. All right. And if there are things you have that do not work, get rid of them. And in particular, if you have things that you were really wearing for the jobs you used to have, burn them. Now get you need to let those pieces go. A lot, like, I can't tell y'all. When I'm doing closet cleanse with clients, going through your closet is like a time capsule. Okay. I wore this when I had my first interview. I wore this when, right? It is literally a time capsule of your life. Okay. But if you're looking at pieces and all of them are like, oh, yeah, I've had this suit for 10 years. Like, this was the first suit I wore for that is so tired. Like, you are not that person anymore. You trying to do a new thing. You trying to branch out, like have your own business. You are trying to become director. Like, you want to get on some boards. Like, you want to lead this nonprofit. Like, you are pure. I said here. Why are you still having pieces in your closet attached to the identity of who you were 5 and 10 years ago? I simply don't understand it. Okay? You've got to let those pieces go. Okay? And oftentimes, just on a practical level with those pieces, they are outdated, sis. Like 10 plus years ago. Like, no, they are outdated. The quality is not as good. The color, listen, if it was white, but now it's eggshell in the armpits, hunty, it's not coming out. Okay? Ain't no bit of stain remover getting it out. You just let it go. All right? So it's about, like, as your identity is shifting in your career, your style will shift. Your style will evolve. Allow it to evolve. Allow it to change. All right? Do not be so attached to what you had before. Thank them and say bye-bye. All right? Marie Kondo that situation. All right. And then the other great thing about that is, though, you can donate those clothes to a Dress for Success. You can donate them to a Bottomless Closet. There are so many organizations where there are young women starting their first jobs or branching out and having their first speaking situation. And they would love to have those suits and blazers. They would love to have all those sheath dresses from Calvin Klein. They would love to have them to start out in their career, because they're like, okay, I know this is traditionally professional and it's appropriate and I can feel good in this space until I navigate my own way, my own path. All right, let them go. It says LinkedIn user. I don't know what your name is. I'm so sorry, but I like it. All right, let them go. Okay, you're gonna say goodbye. All right, and so you are now going to begin to start really carving out your space of what your personal style is. Because I'm telling you, women who are in leadership positions, women who are crushing it, their style is so clear. And I don't care if their style is as simple as classic neutrals in terms of like whites and creams and ivories, or yummy shades of browns. Like, whether it's that or vibrant prints, like, whatever it is, they are consistent in it, and people know them for it, and they have quality pieces that reflect that, because that's their signature style. It's them. So identify that, get the mood board popping, start experimenting in your closet. Also, think about leveling up the quality of the pieces you invest in. You want to make choices to buy things that are of the best quality in the space that, I don't want to say the word afford, but in the space that you will invest in that feels the most comfortable for your budget. Okay. So know what your budget is. Know what kind of shopper you are. Okay. It's like Yelp. When you go for Yelp and you're looking at the restaurants and you're like, is this $1 sign, $2 sign, $3 sign, $4 sign? All right. You might be in the $1 and $2 sign range right now. I encourage you to step up to $3 signs for your key pieces, for your power pieces, for the pieces that you know these are going to be part of like my signature personal style. That might look like blazers for you. That might look like eyeglasses if you wear glasses all the time. right? I made the investment in my eyeglasses, and let me tell you, okay, such a great investment because people always say something about my glasses. All right, and that to me, they're just, I'm like, they're just white frames, but they're white, they're thick, they got little arrows on the side. They're my signature pair. I love them. Okay, so I encourage you to go $1 sign up in the quality of the investment of your power pieces. Okay, maybe it's fly shoes. Maybe it's the handbags that's always going to be on point. Maybe you are love feminine style, so it's dresses. You're like, I am just going to be feminine all the way in my Farm Rio dresses. Okay? Like, whatever it is that you've identified as your power pieces, take it up a notch on the investment level. Like, shop high and low. Shop all luxury. You have to shop based on your budget, based on what works for you. But I tell you this, do not feel like or begin to think that great style is only attached to a high dollar sign. Say it again, okay? Expensive does not equal stylish. Because you could be dripped in head to toe Gucci and look a hot mess. Saying it, okay? And again, it's style is so personal, your image is so personal, it's so much attached to who you are, your personal brand, and how you want people to feel when they see you, that if it doesn't resonate with you, it's not going to come off well. You're going to look like you're trying hard. Y'all done heard this. Because all the time I work with clients and they're always like, I just want effortless style now. And I'm like, I understand the sentiment you mean, but fitting takes some effort. But I get that when you're like, I just want it to feel authentic to myself. I want it to feel like I get dressed and it's easeful. I understand fully and completely. And when you see folks and you're like, ooh, she trying too hard. That's when you get that feeling of like, she's trying to do something that's not authentic to who she is. Right? Like, she saw the blueprint of a style influencer and she's like, okay, well, let me just adopt that because I don't know what my style is. So I'm fitting to adopt her because she's always look fly. Inspiration, not imitation, right? You got to find your own path. You have to wear things that fit well for your shape, your body, that are just complementary to your face features, your skin, your hair, and your flavor, like how you innately show up. All right. Oh, thanks, Portia. Hey, Monica, or Monique, I'm sorry. What's up? Yes, it is a lot of Billboard Central happening. Okay. But you are thinking about that next role and you're thinking about that career change that's happening for you. And so building the credibility, building the trust so that people already see you in that role begins now. The investments begins now, right? And that might simply start with you doing that image assessment and giving yourself that red, yellow, green assessment for yourself when it comes to your appearance, your behavior, communications, and digital presence. All right. Like, I invite you to do that if you've got your eyes set on a promotion this year and figure out, like, okay, when it comes to my image, where am I crushing it? Where do I need help? Okay. And if you're going through your style, and of course you already know, and you're thinking like, Nana, yes, when I open my closet, it literally is screaming junior associate, assistant, and here I am looking to become a director level, C-suite, business owner, etc. I'm a boss, bottom line, right? If that's what you desire for yourself, definitely book a call with me to chat about how we can get you there, right? Like, that is what I do, all right? I help women to really understand what your personal style is, what it looks like for you, and how to work on building up your wardrobe so that you do feel more confident and you know how to dress for yourself when you're stepping out into the world. All right. And so right now I have 3 spots that are open for some fabulous women who know that their style and their identity, it ain't speaking the same language right now for the next role they desire. And you know you need to get the level up popping. So if that is you, I definitely invite you to book a style call with me. I've got 3 spots available for those women in my premium styling service called the Style Elevation Experience. And we take 3 months to build your wardrobe so that you can be consistent and confident in how you're showing up. Boom, boom, boom. So there's going to be no question about you getting the promotion and folks knowing that you deserve the promotion. They're already going to see it. They're already going to feel the identity shift happening with you. And they're going to know she ready for the level up. You like, yeah, you're daggone Skippy. You're daggone Skippy, I am. All right. So if that is you, I definitely invite you. Send me a DM. I will put a link. Let me pop a link to booking a call with me in the chat. If that is helpful right now, and you like, girl, where is the link? I need to book the call today. Go ahead and get on the calendar. Because applications are open now, but they close on January 31st. So, like, don't wait. The waiting, I already told y'all, you got to get it together now. Let me pop this link in the chat. So if you're interested, definitely go ahead and book your call. But definitely listen, pop in the chat. Let me know what your big takeaways were from our session today. I would love, love, love to hear it. Hey, Sophia, thank you for tuning in. Appreciate you. Have a beautiful day as well. Drop in and let me know what you really learned, what was eye-opening, what was something that you were like, okay, this is what I'm walking away with from this conversation. This is what I'm fitting to do next to make sure I am dressing and have the image that's ready for my next job role. All right, y'all, go out and crush the world. Have a fabulous day, and I will see you next Wednesday. Peace.